3, 2, 1.
Here we go! Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today on the Jamie Foster Brown Show. Iyanla, my American inspiration speaker, lawyer, spiritual teacher, author, life coach, and television personality. I mean, come on now.
I got almost as many jobs as you.
Yes, too many jobs. I love all your jobs, though. You're known primarily for your books, your fascinating talk show, and your appearances on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Right.
And currently can be seen on television as the host of Iyanla, Fix My Life, Girl, on OWN.
Yeah.
Help me welcome the fabulous queen herself, Iyanla Vanzant. How are you?
I'm blessed to be with you. How are you, my love?
I gotta tell you, I'm excited about you because I watch your show religiously. The way you handle things you've just gotten better and better. And I watched Lisa Ray, who's my child.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was really good for what you brought out of there. I had not talked to Mommy. I'd seen Mommy, I think. But this was so beautiful what you were able to accomplish with them.
Yeah.
This is a hard job, though.
Yeah. It's a hard job, and you see 42 minutes of 2, 3, sometimes 4 days, and you see 42 minutes. So it's a lot of work, but when the guests are willing, we can get a lot done to demonstrate to the world. And she was willing, but Mom is OG.
So I know about the father. She used to tell me about the father, how she would be in the back of the car. She would listen to him while he was doing all of his dealings and everything. She loved her father to death. And I thought it was very important that you brought out the fact that he loved Lisa Ray more than, you understand what I'm saying?
Well, different relationship. Relationship.
Yeah.
A man may lie to his wife and never lie to his daughter. A man may treat his wife his daughter like a princess and, treat the wife like a handmaiden.
Right.
So they really needed to get clear. But there was clearly some enmeshed boundaries and some things that weren't quite clear between them. And it created a breakdown between Lisa and her mom. So we talked about that. There's so much we didn't see,
I know.
But we talked about it.
I was happy about that because Lisa Ray is one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
So I was glad to see her get some help. I wanted to say this has been a challenge for us this year for politically, COVID-19, the riots, marches, and the killings in our community. How have you been able to stay mentally and spiritually sane throughout so many pandemics? We have a lot of pandemics, not just one pandemic.
Yeah.
Talk me through this. How do you look at things today? What's happening with us?
Well, I, both as a Native American and as a person that's very spiritually grounded, I knew it was coming. Anybody who's really spiritually grounded and in tune knew it was coming. We didn't know what it was going to be. We didn't know what it was going to look like, but we knew it was coming, and it is change. That's all this is, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
It's change. And all change is preceded by chaos. When you try to clean your closet out, you got to dump everything in the bed. The bedroom is a mess, or the hallway, or wherever the closet is, right? Until you put things back in order. And that's what's happening. Things are being put back in order. And it's being put back in order in such a critical and chronic way because we haven't listened. We haven't listened. We didn't listen Michael Stewart. We didn't listen Eleanor Bumper, Amadou Diallo. And then Trayvon Martin. So we had to have a George Floyd because we didn't listen. And when I say we, I mean the world. We didn't listen. When you have to have employment and Black unemployment. Why does there have to be a special number for Black unemployment? There's a problem. It's not that we're getting jobs. It's that how far we are behind in having the jobs. You didn't listen to the meanness and the venom and the ugliness that goes out over the internet. Okay, let me send you a pandemic. We didn't listen to the breakdowns that were coming in our families and our communities, the killings, the domestic violence, the child abuse. We didn't listen. So now go home. Go home and sit your butt down.
Right.
Okay. So it's really just change, and we're being called higher. That's really all it is.
So we are forced to be at home with one another.
Yeah.
But are we learning anything? I mean, who's talking to us? I mean, really, tell me. We can't go to our churches any longer. I mean, we can online, but that's not quite the same thing. How are we going to? When you look at what's happening around us, I think about how can we change our language towards one another? How can if you're mad at me, Iyanla, tell me, how would you tell me that you're mad at me so that I don't feel like, that I don't get antagonistic, that I don't challenge you, but that I listen.
Yeah.
You just tell us how to listen.
Well, let's look at a couple of things. You raised something very important. Nothing that we have ever experienced on this planet has ever shut the churches down.
What? Isn't that amazing?
Nothing.
God, not even, we can't even see God on Sundays.
Okay.
We can't.
But you know what? How many of us will go into church and cussing each other out in the parking lot
at the same time?
Okay. How many of us will go into church and having affairs? How many of us will go into church and doing church, but not being the church? And what Miss Corona did, I say Miss Corona because she has whipped our butt.
I think she's Miss and Mrs. And
yeah, pow your butt, okay? What Miss Corona did was say, which scriptures tell you, church is in your heart. It's in your being. It's not in the building. They want you to bring your heart to the building to create community. We created the community in the building, but many of us didn't take our heart to church. So now we got to do it from Zoom. The other thing that it going online did was it gave the unchurched an opportunity to shop. Okay. All right. I like that. I don't like that. Oh, church every day. A boo boo. So, there's good in everything. And again, those of us who are not listening think that we have to be in the building to worship. No, I choose to worship right where I am. So that's one thing. Let's talk about this language. The language, it's terrible. It's horrible. We're dying. And wait a minute. Hold up. Let's back up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Instead of why is this happening, what am I learning?
Mm-hmm. That's what I want to. What I want from you, what you see, what we're learning. We're elders.
Yeah.
So we see a lot.
Yeah.
We see patterns. We know about consequences.
Yeah.
Which is major here.
Yes.
Because our children don't know about consequences.
Right.
That's our fault.
Yes. Yes.
We're supposed to teach consequences. That's why we went ahead of them, right?
Yeah. Yes. Well, one of the things that we're learning is to tell the truth. Okay. That's why so many lies are being displayed before us. Can you imagine 72 million people believe a lie?
I could not believe that.
On either side, if you believe on one side is 74 million, if you believe on the other is 72 million. Half of this country believes a lie because we have gotten so far from the truth. Many, many years ago, there was a commercial that said, America spells cheese, Kraft. I said, that's a lie. That ain't how you spell cheese. You spell cheese Cheese. But little things, Jamie, have desensitized us to the truth. Now on social media, everybody got an opinion. Well, ain't nobody got no opinion now. It don't matter what your opinion is when Rona knock on your door. Everybody has something to say. And this to me was just divine. Whether you were Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey or Taiwan Jackson. Didn't matter how much money you had or how little money you had.
Mm-hmm.
If there was no toilet paper, there was no toilet paper.
That's right.
Oprah couldn't get no toilet paper. Bill Gates couldn't get no toilet paper. Okay, level the playing field. Because so many of us had gotten into thinking, if I had money, if I was famous, if this happens, if that, level the play. It didn't matter how much or how little money you had, there won't no toilet paper. Okay, so we learned that. The other thing that we learned that happened during the coronavirus was we pulled the rug up.
Mm-hmm.
So many things that we didn't know about, hear about,
Like
whether
what?
in the government or in our home with our partner. You know how many people realize I live with somebody I don't like?
Oh, yes. Yes.
So the rug was pulled up so that we have to get down in the nooks and crannies and clean up. We have to clean up. Let's go back to the speaking you said
Yes.
about if I have an upset with you. Own your stuff. So as opposed to you did so, and you did, and you make me, and say, you know what? I feel when you do blah, 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 it makes me feel. When you say blah, 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 it makes me feel.
Okay.
Because your intention may not even be to hurt me.
Right.
But if you say it too loud or you say it the wrong way or you say it and I'm having a bad day, I'm going to make what I feel about what you did. And what I feel is about what got triggered inside of me. And I'm responsible for my triggers. You're not responsible for my triggers. I am. You know, people get so upset. Don't call me no B. Don't call me out my name. You can call me B all you want to. You know why? Because I defined it for myself. Being in total control of herself.
Mm-hmm.
That's my B. Okay. So you think I'm a B? Yes, I am in total control of myself. Okay. Go right ahead. I'm not going to let you disturb my peace with your mouth. Not going to do it. So it's about us owning up.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah, with our children. So we have so many things pouring into our homes. And our voices are not being heard.
That's right.
What I can tell. Okay. What measures would you take in order, like if you have teenagers now, because it's very difficult now because we have so little time with them. There's a distraction from the time they wake up in the morning. They're getting notifications and people coming in Facebook. I get irritated with that. It's like, can I have a damn cup of coffee without you coming into my computer? So we have to train ourselves. I'm asking, or our children, how to take time for self, to see who we are. We never have time to do that, right? Yeah. Or do you see that? Or
well, you know what? Mm-hmm. I learned a very powerful trick, mm-hmm. and I can do it when I'm not in production.
Okay.
And when I'm home, I don't turn my ringer on till noon.
Okay.
I just don't. Whatever's going on is going to have to go on without me. Okay. When I'm in production, I can't do that. But Sunday, Saturday, on my day off, I don't turn my ringer on till noon. I fired my grandson yesterday. My grandson is 15 years old.
Okay.
He works for me. Okay. And I guess he thought that because I'm yay, that he could just run his whatever and it was going to be okay. But I have cameras in my business. And so I searched the cameras. And I saw him go out and come in. I saw him go to the store and come back with soda. I saw him, every hour he's out and back, gone 20 minutes. And the assignment I gave him 2 weeks ago still ain't done. So I text him and I said, your services are no longer required. Please submit your hours. Okay.
All right.
Because he's 15. I don't have teenagers now, but I have grandchildren. Here's the two things that I've learned. If you feed them, they will sit still for at least 20 minutes. And in that 20 minutes, you get to pour wisdom and knowledge into their brain. So I've got I've got one in college. She's 18. So now we're texting. I can tell her all kind of stuff. And then I got two. One is 17, one is 16, one is 15. And I cook and they sit at my counter and I ask them things like, you got a girlfriend? What's her name?
Yes, yes, yes.
Do you have condoms? I don't even say don't have sex. I just say, do you have condoms? And they just get, oh, grandma knows about sex. Yeah. and you know, and as long as they're eating, I'm talking and I'm asking questions. And when they tell me craziness, I cook something else. Want some more pizza? Here's a piece of chicken. And, I don't care who they are. If they're teenagers, they'll eat. When they're eating, pour it in. Pour it on.
You're feeding them here, though.
Yes.
You're not only feeding them here, but
yes.
here. This is very important for me, because I feel that when I lived in Europe, one of the things that they did over in England was young girls having children, and they're teenagers and they having kids, but they'll put 3 or 4 young mothers with their children into a woman's home who's an elder.
Okay? Yeah.
Now the girls are playing cards and they're, playing board games and things like that. But the elder, she's bathing the kids, she's fixing the dinners, she's saying, no, baby, don't put your elbows on the table.
Right.
Say your grace. She's teaching the children, but she's also teaching the mothers.
Yeah.
The ones who have gone before, who have had no training.
Right.
I thought that was very important, because I'm trying to figure out ways to give simple instructions, that the simple things that we can put inside of our homes today to change the tenor, the environment in our words, so that we feel better about ourselves. We don't push one another down. And that's one of the things that I'm listening to. You're feeding them.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 things: nourishment and wisdom.
Right. And I'm telling you, the 15, the 17, and I talk to, okay, tell me how many touchdowns you got. I don't care how many touchdowns you got. And have you looked at a college yet? Were you thinking about going to college? One of the things that I did with my grandsons when they were little, I used to call them doctor. Mm-hmm. Dr. Olua, Dr. Ade.
Yes.
I don't care if you could be a doctor of education, a doctor of a medical doctor, but at a very young age, I used to call them doctor, to let them know that there's a possibility you can go all the way to become a PhD or a medical doctor. And I used to also call them Mr. Mr. Why you call the children Mr. So that they know how to respect themselves. They know what to expect from others. I never call them MF. I never call them stupid. I never called them SOB, and I didn't tell them they was like their father. My children or my grandchildren.
Yeah, right.
So there are that, one of the baddest habits that I think we just kind of embraced as a kind of colloquialism that is really damaging. And I've really sat with this and prayed about it. And it's this baby daddy, baby mama thing.
Okay, all right, let's unpack that.
No, that's a father. He's got certain responsibilities. Mm-hmm. Baby daddy don't have no responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And in fact, the baby daddy is on your bad side, so you talking bad about him most of the time, because he's just that, a baby daddy. That's the stud that passed through the farm, knocked you up, and got sold off. You understand? No. No, because we, particularly us as Black people, Jamie, we have to understand the trauma that still exists in our DNA. We think that because we're in the 21st century and the Emancipation Proclamation, that we're free. Some of us are still living beliefs and behaviors and indoctrinations that are still alive in our blood. They did a survey or a study, I think it was in 2014 that I read, about the number of African Americans versus white people who own homes. And the largest number of homes that are owned among people of color are in the South, where the property was passed down from one family. In the North and in the urban, we rent. Mm-hmm. Why? We don't believe it. We don't know about ownership. We'd be more happy to rent and have to ask the massa for hot water and heat and paint. We don't think that's what it is. But cellular memory. We got this hair, these nose, this nose, these eyes, this mouth, because of cellular memory. Well, we also got psychological and emotional baggage because of cellular memory. So there's so many things that we do and believe in. We do it habitually, unconsciously, that we need to clean up. And some of it we're passing on to our children. We're passing it on to our children.
How do we begin? You know, I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. And you know that when the way I was raised, every Sunday we had to sit on that sofa with my parents sitting across from us and teaching us about life and teaching us about saving and teaching young girls about keeping your legs closed. What happens when you have sex early, and you know the penalties that can occur from that. I don't know if that's being our whole society promotes that today. Can you just tell me about that a little bit? What happened?
Listen, I recently had a conversation with one of my Native American elders, and she was teaching me about things to teach. And this is what she said to me. I almost fell off the chair. Okay. She said, the women today, their hearts are closed.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Their hearts are closed because of the hardships. Their hearts are closed because of bad teaching. Their hearts are closed because they've had to spend so much time acting like men because they have failed to hold the men responsible. This is an elder. She's up in the 90s, okay? And she said to me, teach the women, this is what she said, Jamie, teach the women how to open their hearts, but tell them to close their legs.
Okay, wait. You know, I programmed DEP.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the program. Okay, so I see all this coming. I'm comparing the white videos with the black videos. The white videos, the guys got the women looking pretty and the pretty hair and all like that.
They're on the beach.
Okay, right. The black videos, they're in the swimming pool, they're jiggling, their asses are out and all. You understand? Okay, and our men, we sold that to our children.
Yeah.
There was I ran across a piece of film the other day where Busy Bone, I think it was Busy Bone, was speaking to a young on radio about how the white men came to them, they're rappers, you know, this is Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yeah.
They came to them and said, listen.
I know who Bone Thugs and Harmony is.
I didn't know if you know who Busy Bone was. Okay. They came and told them that they wanted them to do more of the gangster rap because it was creating more conflict, drugs in our community, tearing down our women, and they can get more prisons. They had 500 prisons. These are white businessmen. They had 500 prisons at that time.
Yeah.
Now they have 1,700 prisons. So it was designed to put our children, our men, into prison. Okay.
Third grade starts in the third grade. The prison, right. the school to prison pipeline, right. and you know, whatever you think or don't think, the Reverend Jesse Jackson has been telling us, tried to tell us, but we didn't listen. He was telling us for years and years and years about the prison industrial complex and the work that's being done. It starts, Jamie, in the third grade, and we put our children on these devices. It's so challenging for boys because what it does is it teaches them, you know, boys are less emotional anyway, right. But it teaches them to isolate.
Yes, that's
and
right.
It teaches them not to develop creative expression. They're on the devices and they're seeing the light waves and the sound waves in the games and stuff. You know, the girls are looking at videos or looking for makeup or whatever, but those devices for everybody, 3-year-old, 5-year-olds, they're on devices. We've got to come off of these devices. There's a PBS special. You can see it on YouTube.
Okay.
You can see it on YouTube. There's one on Facebook. There's one on Amazon. You need to watch it. We need to watch it.
It's called
Because,
what? What is it called?
well, Amazon, it talks about, not for Amazon, Facebook. It
Okay.
talks about the algorithms and how they program you and how they, not it's about Facebook, but it's about the internet in general. How they use algorithms and your keystrokes and the sites you visit to program you and what they're doing and how much time on the screen and what it does, and it scared me to death.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and how do we fight that? Because this is our, that's like telling
Get a book. It's called a book. BOOK. Okay.
But they're mesmerized by this, you know, all the TikTok and all the things that we deal with every day, that come in on. So we're not focused on how we can get better, how our homes can get better, how we can do better. You understand? It's all taken away. We're all divided and spread out everywhere. It's very. That's why I'm trying to figure out things that we can share with the average homemaker, that mom who's trying to get dinner on the table, and
Well, here's something real simple.
Mhm.
For every 30 minutes you read a book, you get 15 minutes online. How about that?
Okay, so that's what we
A
should.
hard paper book, not a Kindle. Every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes you spend reading a book, you get 15 minutes online.
Why not a Kindle? Though, why are you saying that?
Well, you know, let me not say Kindle.
No, I'm just asking that because
Why? Because I don't like all them light beams going in my brain.
in your brain. Okay. Okay.
Now, if the light beams are attached to words, maybe it's okay. And I'm saying that, and I got 3 of them because people give them to me.
Right.
I got all of them. I got the old one, the new one. I got the one you can write in, the one but, and I think, Jamie, don't you remember your mama paying $4, $5, $6 a month for your Britannica encyclopedia?
Yes. We have this,
You had the whole set, and that man came every month to collect that money. Young people don't know what a book is.
But how would, I mean, we've gone so far away from that. What can we do? I mean, are you saying that even though we have the computer and we have all these bells and whistles, we still should ask our children to sit down and read a chapter?
Yes, absolutely.
That's what you're telling me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
My great-grandson is 3 years old, and I signed him up for the book club. Every month, he gets 2 books. And as he gets old, you know, they'll change. So now his book is C. Jack and People of Color.
You know what? You've done so much. Iyanla, let me ask you something. You've had to deal with a lot of. I watch emotionally. I'm talking about you now in your show. These people get violent with you sometimes, and we don't know what to expect. You know, sometimes I'm nervous for you, of course. You know, because I'm like, they better not hit her. I mean, you know, I don't. The Chicago will come out in me. But you deal with a lot of people who have a lot of pain, honey.
Yeah.
And to be able to, first of all, I think that the visually is just beautiful. I love looking at the settings. You put so much into it to make people feel good about watching you and being there. The colors and all the props and things. You know, there's thinking, there's caring. I want to help you. That's going into all of that. That messaging is coming through all, you know, constantly. I'm like, look at her. She done put this together, and she's got a feather over here and a fan over there. I said, well, it's brilliant. It's just absolutely brilliant. But sometimes people get very, very hostile.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? What do you feel?
Well, you know, this is what people don't know.
Okay.
I have, first of all, my entire camera crew is Black men.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Including my son. So they may feel froggish, but they don't leap. Number 2, every show, Jamie, I have 2 prayer warriors in the room with me. And that's what they're doing. They're praying. That's why I don't get afraid. That's why I don't run. That's why I can sit there. Because if the prayer warriors don't stop them, the cameramen will.
Okay.
Y'all will see them cameras go flying.
Right.
And we do have security, but my security is not gunned. And, Doc is like one of us. And Doc will show up and I'll either raise my hand or put my hand down. If he has to step in, he'll always check with me how far to go because Doc is a male. And I don't encourage that male energy advancing toward a female. I'm never afraid because, like I said, I got it on prayer lockdown and I've got 5, 6 cameramen, all Black men who call me Mama V. So leap if you want to. Okay. So, but we don't even have that consciousness. I know what fear looks like.
Yeah.
Fear wears so many hats. And when you go into somebody's space and you begin to dismantle their excuses and their defenses and their hustle and their racket and the things that have kept them safe. And what I do is step into their space and I start pulling that down, pull it down. They're exposed and they're frightened. They're not angry. They're frightened. And I'm not afraid of fear. Really, I'm not. So that's what it is. And I started telling people early, because it used to, oh my God, I didn't know what was going to happen. But I tell them, there's going to come a moment when you don't like me.
Yes.
That's okay.
That's okay. That's okay.
Because I'm fighting for your life and I'm going to win.
So when you get them to come back, I'd be interested to know how many of them that you made a difference with, and that thank you, and that I know some of them may walk away and just say the hell with that or whatever. I'm just assuming because some are not.
Well, here's the thing, Jamie, and I say this. They don't play it anymore. I say it every guest, every show. My fix is to interrupt your pattern.
Right.
I have to stop you, show you what you're doing, how you're doing it. Let's uncover why you're doing it, and then I'm going to give you something else to do. That's the fix.
Right.
But the doing part comes when you go home.
That's right.
It don't come here.
Right.
So a lot of times I think the guests will go and they'll keep it up for a while and then they may fall back into their own pattern. But we've had a lot of success.
I can imagine.
A lot. And even the people that fall back into their old wicked ways, they recognize, okay, I'm in my wicked ways. I'm not doing what you told me to do. They leave with homework. They leave with books. They leave with support, so they've got to do the work. I've always said that, do the work.
Is there any interview that you wish you hadn't done?
No. Okay.
There's
no interview that I wish I hadn't done. The one interview that I wish I had been obedient to spirit, was DMX.
I knew that.
Because spirit told me what to do. And I didn't do it because of the production process. That's the only reason.
Right.
What spirit told me to do for him, they didn't understand, and we were new, and they didn't think the audience would. I could do basically anything now. I could probably have somebody flying on a cape and a broom. But back then, they were like, oh, I've done stuff people have never seen.
Right.
But when we were young, season 2, they weren't willing to take that chance.
Yeah.
And so I compromised and didn't do what spirit told me to do.
Would you try to do it again now?
No.
Why not? You wouldn't revisit it?
With him? Because he crossed a boundary with me. That I'm just not willing to renegotiate. He crossed the boundary with me. And what I also realized was the show, had I done what I was supposed to do, maybe it would have been different. But the show, the way it was done, was really for his son.
Yeah, I know. You're absolutely right.
So I would not go back to do that. And like I said, he crossed a boundary with me that I'm not willing to renegotiate.
He still needs you. You know,
No, he doesn't. He needs God. I'm
that's true
just one
too.
vessel. He needs clarity. He needs to make some choices. And I hear that he's doing really well. I don't know if that's true or not. But, I wish him well. I don't have any upset. But,
Hey,
it's like,
listen, I'm a young girl. I'm coming into, my sexuality now. And I'm cute. And I'm like 15 years old, and boys are looking at me. What kind of advice do you give me?
well, not to you. I'm going to tell your mother, who should be, you're 15. She may be 30, 35. Or, she may be
Maybe she may
25.
be 25.
Right.
I'm going.
I'm going to tell her to gather up anything from 10 to 21 of the oldest women she can find, and we're going to do a rites of passage.
Okay, tell me about that. What is that?
We do christenings, baptisms, but there's also a rites of passage. And the rites of passage is when young girls from 13 to 16 sit at the feet of the elders. I mean, it's an incredible process. They bathe her, they wash her, they feed her,
The young
and
girl.
speak into her spirit. They can be 30, 40, but you got to have some elders in there, some 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and they speak to her and they teach her, and they get a commitment from her. And then she has a village that is watching over her. That's how that happens. In Africa, they take the boys at, I think it's 9 or 12, out, and they take them out and they do rites of passage. In the Jewish community, they do the bar mitzvah. We the only people that don't do nothing. We go to the Chuck E. Cheese and have cake and pizza. What the hell? And our kids are the one that's dying in the streets. Rites of passage. My grandson had it, and he still made his errors, but this is what I know. When you raise a child up right, they don't go too far.
They don't go too far.
No.
So how would I begin to do that? I mean, I'm older, so I don't even have grandkids yet or anything like that. But this is all for my people. I'm in love with Black people. As crazy as we are, as the stupid things that we do, I don't think there's anything better on earth. We're just dumb right now.
Yeah, right.
Make bad choices right now.
Right.
But I want you to fix our lives. You got
to do the work, Jay. You got to do the work, and we're not willing to do the work. We want everything quick, fast, quick, fast, quick, fast. I've got grandkids, 26, 25. The girls, college. The boys,
What is that? Let's talk about that. The boys, what our children are being fed daily through media. It's not helping us. It's about dancing, gyrating, getting girls pregnant. What about giving up our bodies? I mean, nobody is saying you should not have sex. I don't hear it. I mean, our music fosters that, that the girl gives up sex, the boy takes it, and then he leaves. And I mean,
baby mama, baby daddy, we've made it acceptable.
Right.
And then the other thing that we made acceptable, not as bad as. Well, at least I ain't as bad as. At least I didn't do what. At least I'm not as bad as some. We've made that acceptable too. Just because you're not as bad as that doesn't mean that you're doing things that are appropriate for you. So yeah, I tell my grandchildren don't have sex. I got one that's 26 that's a virgin.
That's great. That's great.
And another one 18 that's a virgin. I don't know about the boys because they're so horrified that I would ask them.
Well, is it okay to teach them to have safe sex? Am I condoning it when I say, well,
Jamie, that's big people stuff. Okay. That is big people stuff. And I mean, Jamie, I had my first child when I was 16. So I am in no way saying that it doesn't happen. Here's what happened for me. Had somebody educated me, I wouldn't have done it.
Okay.
And nobody talked to me about sex, about my body. Here was my sex education. Here it is in one lesson. Don't you be sitting on nobody's lap.
Oh.
That's my education. So I didn't. I got into bed with them. I sit on their lap.
So, Iyanla, can you remember when you had, I mean, when we're 15, 16 years old, 14, we have those urges
Yeah.
that come to us, and we have to be given the, how should I say, the voice back here that says, oh, this would be good, this would feel good, but
Yeah.
what are we don't talk enough about consequences. And when I say that, it's take it all the way there. Okay, I have sex with this boy. Does he love me? I don't know. Okay, so what happens? Oh, does he go and tell other boys that I had sex with him? Is my reputation at stake here now? Did I get pregnant? If I get pregnant, now I got to deal with telling my parents because
But you know what, Jamie? Before you can get there, here's the missing piece for our children.
Okay.
They have no vision.
Okay.
No vision. I had a vision. I wanted to be a nurse.
Okay.
That was my vision. What I didn't have was education.
Right.
No sex education. Nobody taught me how to value my body. Nobody taught me about relationships. Nobody talked about that. So if our children, now my granddaughter, the one that's in college, she wants to be a veterinarian.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't having no sex and getting pregnant because it ain't a part of her vision. And she's had that vision. She wanted to be a pianist, got her a piano. She wanted to be an artist, I got her art supplies, took her to art classes. Now, finally, like 10th grade, she wants to be a veterinarian. Okay, so now that means you got to go to college.
Right.
You can't have no kids.
Right.
So how many 15-year-old girls are even asked, what do you want to be? Are even exposed to what do you want to be? And if they have a vision, and they're taught to honor that vision, their vision board, they're about college, about life, about whatever, not in the way do it, but make it fun, make it expansive. And they're taught about their body. They're taught about the energy. What is sex? Some young girls can handle it, some can't. And I think that rather than tell them don't do it, encourage them not to, prepare them should they, but give them a better deal than just getting laid. How about college? How about medical school? How about nursing school? How about travel to Europe or go to Africa? Go to Egypt before you have a baby. How about that? Go to the slave quarters. How about that?
But they don't hear that. That's not something that's in their daily lives, So, and this is something, it's so much in my head right now, and it's good talking to you about it. I wanted to ask you about it. You had in the past, you said we have to prostitute our pain.
No, our pain is prostituted on these reality shows. And, and God forbid, I mean, I'm on a reality show and I'm not calling no names, but I'm saying the ones that don't promote us in the highest light, the ones that don't advocate who we are as people of color, the ones that don't take us beyond eating out and dancing or arguing and fighting.
Right.
It's a prostitution of our pain. And our pain is what keeps us in the vicious cycle of doing the same thing over and over and over and over. So we have to, and again, Miss Corona, because all of that stuff was shut down. All of it. Shut down. Okay.
But it's not, once we get this remdesivir, we get we're very disobedient, that.
That's how we got in the mess in the first place, because the elder said, the ships are coming, turn them around. The ships are coming, turn them around. And the ships came and we invited them on shore, took their trinkets, drank their liquor, and started selling each other into slavery. Okay, that's the story we need to tell.
Tell us about that story.
Well, they were, first of all, slaves in Africa, not a shadow slavery like it is here, but they were indentured servants. And the first slaves that were, or I don't know if it's the first, well, whatever. If you read Before the Mayflower, it talks about how the kings and took the jewels and the trinkets from the Europeans and took
Yes.
them into the villages to sell the people into slavery. We
Right.
did it to
We
ourselves
did. We did.
because we were disobedient.
Mhm.
We don't talk about that part of it, but it's true.
Yeah, but we do need to talk about that because and well, we're so special. We built the pyramids. I mean, this is just we're just an amazing race, and this is what I have to help instill into us is that we are not the ordinary guy. We're
No.
not the ordinary people. We're a special. We have been given so much in our
Yeah.
lives, and then we've lost that also. So this is something that I feel that with you, how do I? If okay, anyone listening to this today, what we're talking about, and we got kids and stuff. What would you suggest? You know, the easiest thing for us to start doing, you know, in our homes to make things better. Just
One,
like
let me give you three things.
okay,
Jamie. I
three.
hear you
Okay.
because I see your brain functioning. Number one, clean up your environment. Some
Mhm.
of our homes are just energetically toxic. I don't care if you got to burn some sage, burn a white candle, wash your floor with ammonia, whatever it is, clean up your environment because sadness and fear and disappointment and discouragement, it lives. It's a thing, it's an energy, it's alive. Keep your environment clear. Number two, I think every family should have a weekly, if not a daily, spiritual practice
Okay.
that they do together. It
Give
could
me
be
an
a book
example of
that
it.
you
Yeah.
read,
Okay.
huh?
A book to read. Go
It
ahead.
could be a book that you read. It could be prayer. It could be affirmations. It could be sitting silently together. You gotta have individuals need a spiritual practice, but definitely people, families, we need a spiritual practice because the material is taking us down.
Hmm.
The ethereal, the worldly, is taking us down. My great grandson is 3. He
Okay.
sits right in there in my prayer room with me, and I'm teaching him how to meditate. So when he's having his tantrum, I
Right.
say, breathe, breathe. He'll go, he's 3. He's 3. Okay. So clean up your environment, have a spiritual practice, and keep your energy clean. Keep your energy clear because we are picking up toxins everywhere from the internet, from the street. I'm not talking about physical toxins, Jamie. I'm talking about spiritual, mental, and emotional. I went in the supermarket one day and I said, okay, let me go to another market. That place it was singing with just desperation. I was like, oh my God, I can't. Keep your body clean, whether it's an Epsom salt bath, whether it's an apple cider vinegar bath, whether you're scrubbing yourself with lemons. Keep your body clean. And I talk about all of this stuff. I used to be ashamed or afraid, or, I don't care if people think I'm crazy. I'm too old. And I'm so old, I won't remember, even if they call me crazy. So go ahead, call me crazy. But I tell you what, my grandmother was a Native American that lived to be 106 years old. And she took salt baths, and she took Epsom salt bath, and she burned sage, and she kept our house clean, and she swept the front steps with ammonia. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. But we're so into, I don't want to say names, designer this and quick that, and till we don't even use our custom. We're the only people. The Italians keep their custom. The French, the Irish, the Swedish, the Asian. Everybody keeps their culture but us. We're the only ones that have thrown off our culture. I don't understand.
Well, there's a lot been done to us, and I understand what you're saying, but I'm still in love with us.
I am too. I mean, I fight for us. I work for us. I challenge us. But what I'm aware of is, that because we are special,
we are.
and because we did build the pyramid, and because the depth of genius that lives in our being,
in our DNA,
in our DNA, because that level of genius is different, we got to do different. Mm-hmm. And because there is no other people on the planet, with the exceptions of the Native Americans, who are oppressed on their own land.
in their
These
land.
people taking off our land and oppressed. Okay. They oppressed right here on their own land. There are no other people that have experienced what we experienced as descendants
That's
of
right.
Africa. So we have a lot of healing to do still.
Should the church have? What should the church do today? What do you think we should do with the churches?
Why you got to ask that?
Well, okay, because that's the one place we have our flock there. This whole thing about church and state should be separate, that's bull. We have to teach when we have the minds there what's going on in our community, who's doing what for our community, how do we feed our children, how do we dress them, what's going on in our schools. There's no other place that we.
There are many churches that are doing that.
Okay.
You know, they have early childhood education. I have a beautiful church not far from me. They do it from the cradle to the grave. They've got childcare and senior citizen center. So there are many churches that are doing the work and keeping our communities together. You know that during the civil rights, that's where we met. And that's what they bombed and they burned down. But the challenge, Jamie, is not in the church. The challenge is in the theology. Now, as a seminary trained and ordained minister, and a spiritual psychologist, that's what my degree is in, spiritual psychology. What I experienced is that theology or religious doctrine, the way it is offered in today's world, makes us codependent.
Okay.
We are dependent on something outside of ourselves to do what only we can do.
Right.
And this is how I learned it. God can only do for you what God can do through you.
Through you.
So if you're waiting for this savior or that prophet or this thing to come, then you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it. And we're living in an age when we have to tap into and discover the divine within us by whatever name you call it, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad. It ain't out there. It's in here. Because as long as you're reaching out there, you are denying your own divinity. So we have to begin to embrace our religious teachings in a way that empowers us and not makes us codependent. We keep waiting on something outside. Most of us pray to an external God. We pray to God out here as opposed to realizing God is in here waiting to be expressed out there. So we have our spotlight out here, religious, when we need to turn it and make it a beam inside, and then get what we have inside and share it outside.
Your final words on healing, Missy.
Do the work.
Yeah, do the work.
Do the work.
I listen to you. I enjoy you so much. I have a lot of wisdom, but still I get wisdom from you. From you. So I need you, and I thank you so much for sharing what you have learned with us, and you have courage. I love the courage that you have, the courage to speak, to act, bow down. We need that courage because we're confronted with the devil every day and all day. Okay.
My name is Iyanla. Iyanla means great mother. And the mother is the teacher. The mother nurtures, the mother nourishes, the mother beautifies. So the last 30 years of my life have really been about living into the nature of my name, So I want to share, give, because I want people, just like mother, she's glad when you go off to college so she can have the house to herself. I want everybody to learn it and get it and go off and do something and leave me alone, okay?
So last thing, how's Oprah? How's she doing?
She's really good. She's good. She, she does everything on Zoom, like the rest of us. I want to just say this one thing, Jamie. Let me say this to whoever's listening. Whenever you see our artists, our singers, our actors, and whenever you see them doing anything, please support it. Because the theater industry, the movie industry, even television has basically been decimated. Every artist ain't at the level of Beyonce and Jay-Z. They can't do concerts. The comedian.
I'm getting ready to do Chris Thomas right now, right after you. I'm
okay. So I just want us to keep our eyes peeled for when, whoever your artist is, a Lettucey, a India, a Jill, Anthony Hamilton, if they're doing these things online and you can support them. But don't also remember about the drummers and the bassist and the sax player, the musicians. Their industry has been decimated. So, what we give, we receive. So let us support our artists, please, please.
I welcome you to come back anytime. Teach me. You see anything that I may say or do that is crazy, let me know.
Never crazy.
I love you so dearly. And thank you for spending time with me and giving us the wisdom that you have. I look at you. First of all, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
You really look beautiful.
Thank you.
I like that.
I got half modern and half culture.
I see it. And so, when I get back, I hope to come home soon, and maybe I can stop by the house, in that area where I am now. So where you are.
Okay.
I'm in New York. I'm in New York now. I'm in
Okay, you're welcome anytime. You have a eternal invitation.
Okay, wait till let's get in there and dance, baby, because I know you can dance.
And eat.
Who's cooking?
I'll cook.
I'll be there. I love you.
Love you back. Thank you.
Tell Oprah I miss her. I love her too.
Okay. All right.
Love
Bye-bye.
you.